Welcome to this module of Professor Messer's free CompTIA A+ certification training course on installing and troubleshooting laptop components. I'm James Messer, and this module talks about the requirements from our 22702 Practical Application Exam, Section 1.3, where we need to install and configure and detect problems specifically with what's inside of a laptop. And so this includes the LCD display and hard drive and memory. There are expansion slot types. There are wireless cards and video cards. There's a lot of things inside of a laptop that are a little bit different than what you would deal with when you're working with perhaps a desktop computer. We'll go through a number of scenarios here that are very exclusive to laptops and learn how we can troubleshoot if we run into any of these problems. Let's start with the video that's on our laptops. This is a self-contained unit. We don't have a separate monitor associated with the laptop, so the video becomes pretty important. And whenever we're working with the video and there's a problem, there are a number of things that we can check. First off, on your laptop, there's probably a function key that toggles the different states of the laptop screen. It's very possible by hitting that and the button that changes it to an external monitor that your screen could go blank and you may have no idea why that has occurred. So by toggling through the function key, hold down that function key and click the key to change the monitor output, you may be able to toggle between the LCD display and external monitor connection, both at the same time, and then back to the internal LCD display again. Sometimes there's software on your computer that can even tell you where it is right then. Is it on the video going to the laptop display? Is it going to an external monitor? Or is it going to both? And then you'll know exactly what you should expect to see on the screen. You might also just want to plug in an external monitor. If your LCD display isn't working, is the problem with the video card that's in the laptop, or is it just something associated with the LCD display? By plugging in an external monitor, you can bypass the LCD and see if you're even able to see anything output properly on that screen. If you look at your keyboard carefully, you should be able to see this. There is almost always a function key or a third function key that's on your laptop display. The reason that's there is obviously there's only so many keys you can fit on a laptop. You have a limited amount of real estate. So because that's blue, everything that has a blue function associated with it also has a second function. So we can see there's turning on and off wireless is blue. Hibernate. If I hold down the function key and hit F1, it will hibernate the computer. If I hold down the function key and hit escape, it will stand by. And on this particular laptop, F8 has the key that will toggle between the external CRT and the internal LCD display. We don't see very many CRTs anymore, but you'll see that name is still used a lot on these keys. So holding down function and F8 will toggle. If I don't see anything, hold down function and hit F8 again and see if you can start to have the screen recycle through that list and come back onto the LCD display, or take all the video and send it out to a locally connected monitor. That may be a way to test what's going on. Your laptop computer is also good at determining how your computer is sitting. It knows that if you close the cover of your laptop, that it should send the video out the video port. Or if you open your laptop up, the display should change to the LCD. So there's a switch that does that. On older computers, you may see an actual little switch that's on the computer. So when you close it and open it, you have that refrigerator door effect of where does the light turn on when you're working with this. And so you may see a little stick sticking up, and when you push your monitor screen down, your LCD screen down on your laptop, that depresses that particular sensor, and then it's able to know whether you've closed the lid of your laptop or not. On newer systems, it's a magnetic switch. There's nothing physical you can see. There's nothing on the outside you can press on. You actually have a magnetic switch inside of it, and it knows when you close it up because the magnets are then connected to each other, and the switch is then closed. If you are looking at your screen and you notice that it's very, very dark, there's no light coming from it at all. In fact, it looks like it's not working. But if you look really, really close, you may be able to still see that the LCD screen does have information on it. The problem may be with the backlight. One of the things that challenges us with these LCD displays is that that light that's behind it is the only thing that's illuminating that screen for us. So if we want to really see what's going by, we have to make sure the light's turned on. If these particular inverters that are in your laptop screen, they're usually behind everything else, if these inverters go bad, the screen, the LEDs or the fluorescent lights that are used to send that light through aren't going to work any longer. So it's very common that when these fail that you have to replace them. And unfortunately, you can find many places to purchase inverters for some of these laptop screens, and they're really not that expensive to do, but they do require you taking apart your computer, replacing these inside of your systems. They usually will plug in with connectors that are right on the inverter, so they're pretty easy to replace. There's no soldering that you have to do, and then you have to screw everything back together again. And then once that works, it takes that DC power inside of your computer, inverts it to AC so that it can then have that light that is on your backlight send the light through so you can see everything. When you're looking at the LCD screen, if it does not look quite as sharp as what you would expect to see, it may be that you're not running at the native resolution of your laptop screens. Sometimes this is on purpose. If we run a laptop, these little tiny 15 or 17-inch screens, and we run it at the high resolution that our laptop screens display, it may just be too small to really use very well. Some people will then decrease the resolution, which makes it look bigger on our screen, but because it's not running at the native resolution, it's a little bit blurry because it is not running exactly a pixel for pixel representation of the image. If you aren't quite certain what your native resolution is for your laptop, just grab the manual, look at the specifications online. It will tell you. Sometimes a laptop model even has different options for a native resolution. You may have to try a couple of different ones to see what really looks best on your laptop screen. So make sure that when you're working with your laptop, you know exactly what the native resolution is, and if you set it to that resolution, you'll have the crisp and clear picture that you would expect to see from that laptop. You may not realize it, but your laptop probably has some antennas inside of it. You don't see them because they are on the inside of your computer. They usually wrap around the LCD monitor view of your laptop so that they're always sticking up into the air. But inside your computer are some antenna wires. They are almost always on the inside. You will very, very rarely see any type of antenna that's sticking outside of the computer monitor or outside of the laptop screen. It's usually connected through that case down to where your cards are connected down at the bottom of your computer. Because they are these tiny little wires and they're connected into a section where you may be installing memory, it becomes very, very easy to dislodge those. They're very little. The connectors on them are very small. It's a laptop, and so everything is very miniaturized. So you may want to make sure that if you're taking things apart and you put it back together, that that particular connection on the antenna for your wireless connection or a cellular modem type connection is still connected there. Otherwise, you'll start your computer up. There'll be no signal to see. This is how small it is. This is a mini PCI port that's on the inside of a computer. There's a panel on the bottom. You simply take off the panel and you'll usually find these mini PCI ports here. And these are standard cards that will slide right in there. This happens to be an Intel wireless card. And you can see there's a main and an auxiliary wire for the antenna. These are the connectors. They're really, really small connectors, and you can see here on the right side, you can see the wires that need to plug into those. Now, right next to this is the modem, and if you plug and unplug the modem, maybe you're adding a modem or removing it, this card itself has been popped out. It usually is pushed flat and is flush with everything else on the laptop. You can see how easy it might be to accidentally dislodge one of these. So if you want to check your signal and make sure that your wire is still connected, just open this top panel, this bottom panel, and make sure that those are still pushed in to those connectors. And as long as you push those in and they're flush with that, your connections for your wires should be working just fine. Let's see what we've learned about troubleshooting our laptop components. Our first question is, how can you switch to an external monitor if you're using a laptop? You now maybe want to troubleshoot your LCD display. You've plugged in a monitor. You still got a black screen on the monitor though. So how can you force the video signal now to go to that external monitor? There's probably a toggle key, usually a function key or a third-party function key in conjunction with another key that specifies a monitor or says LCD, CRT, or maybe has a picture of a monitor on it that will then take your video signal and force it out that external port. Our next question is, what hardware failure is often the problem when the LCD backlight goes out? If that light disappears and yet everything else seems to be working fine, then you've probably got an issue with the LCD inverter that's on your computer, and that will need to be replaced. Our last question is, how can you ensure you're getting the clearest, cleanest, crispest LCD display? Well, the best way to do that is to always run at the native resolution of your LCD screen. If it looks fuzzy in any way or does not look as crisp as you think it should, you're probably running at a resolution that is something different than what the normal native resolution would be for that LCD display. And I'll bet if you change your native resolution, you'll get a much clearer display. That will really help you if you're looking at a lot of websites, you're looking at a lot of graphics, you're working with a lot of videos. You'll be surprised what a difference that will make. Well, that covers our requirements from our 22702 section 1.3, where we've needed to find problems, we've needed to troubleshoot and work with these portable devices. If you'd like to watch any of our absolutely free A+ videos, you'd like to send me a message and much more, you can visit our website at freeaplus.com.